Welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge, and this is your latest Manchester United news. An early show on a Sunday, but an exciting show. Love the Sunday shows. Takes me back to being a young kid, getting the Sunday papers, always written by different journalists, so you get different stories. So we're talking this morning, another shock manager candidate for Manchester United, former Dortmund coach. We'll talk about that. Also, Graham Potter's been thrown in the ring by the Manchester Evening News with Thomas Tuchel. The Independent are saying that the Thomas Tuchel rumours are nonsense and explaining why. We've also got another, on the BBC gossip column, they're saying that Harry Maguire could be sold in January, but his time at Manchester United is coming to an end. And Bruno Fernandes responds to his critics with a man-of-the-match performance for Portugal against Poland. Are you excited? Are you entertained? Not really, because it's international football and I want us to do better than that on the pitch for Manchester United. Morning to everyone this morning. Morning to Jojo. Hello from Malta. Lovely part of the world. Not actually been, but I want to go there. Massive Manchester United support in Malta. And good morning from the States, the United States, Mexico, India, and New Zealand. Everybody else, you're not getting a hello. I'd be here all day. But welcome to everybody who's watching this morning. Let's fly into it then. So the manager that we've been linked to this morning by some UK outlets is Edin Terzic. Never very good at names. If I pronounced it wrong, I'm sorry. A former German player of not great notoriety, very much in the mould of Jurgen Klopp, who actually I think was one of Klopp's coaches. Dortmund twice. Worked with Slaven Bilic actually at West Ham. Came to Dortmund to work under Favre. Then stepped in for a little bit. Left. Rose came in, came back, did 2 years. In that 2 years, took them to the Champions League final last year, obviously with Sancho. Year before, should have won the Bundesliga before Leverkusen broke the Bayern Munich deadlock, but they blew it on the final day at home, drawing 2-2 and blowing the Bundesliga the year before last. So, look, I think that... what are your thoughts on this in relation to Edin Terzic? He is available. Apparently, according to reports, he is admired by Manchester United's hierarchy. He has managed a big club. He has walked away from a big club. Red flag. It is the Bundesliga. Red flag. And also, I think that he's another free agent. Red flag. I don't mind being convinced that this is a good coach for Manchester United, but I can't say what I say about Tuchel and not say the same about Potter or Zercic or Terzic. I forget his bloody name now. Terzic or anybody else. I can't do that. I think it's we are being linked to managers that are available. The Manchester Evening News last night said that Potter and Tuchel are key candidates if Ten Hag gets sacked. Because what happened last night? You know, what happened to this journalist last night then? He was sat there watching Strictly Come Dancing with a cup of tea and, a plate of chips and gets a phone call from an unknown number. Sod it. Hello? Hello, it's Sir Jim here. I'm very busy with the America's racing boats, but at the end of the day, I just wanted to ruin your Saturday night with an exclusive, actually. We want Tuchel and we want Potter. Bye. No, absolutely not. I think that we are still stuck in this world where people are trying to make stuff up for relevancy around the manager, and there is absolutely no way that Potter and Tuchel are our key candidates for this job. And there is absolutely no way that Edin Terzic is a front runner either. The bottom line is they held a meeting on Tuesday where the majority did not vote to sack Ten Hag. He is the current manager of Manchester United. He is on thin ice. Work will be being done around potential candidates. But I just don't think that Manchester United are going to put themselves in a position where they go from a project that they have put a lot of money into, i.e. this current project, to let's just go for that because they're free. I mean, the Graham Potter story is only not as chaotic and hilarious because Southgate's been linked to us. If Southgate had never been linked to us, people would ridicule the Potter link. It's only because Potter's not as sensationally stupid as going for Gareth Southgate. Graham Potter shouldn't be anywhere near Manchester United. Absolutely nowhere near. If we're being linked to Graham Potter, we should be being linked to Mark Robbins at Coventry. Like, it's incredible to me that Graham Potter... This is not Graham Potter at Brighton. This is not the hipster from Brighton that was, like, interesting. This is Graham Potter, who went to Chelsea, absolutely blew it, and was one of the most boring press conference managers anybody's ever bloody seen. And Man United think that that can be the future. Absolutely not. Of course they don't. And look, I hope Graham Potter bounces back and gets a good job. But he's not coming to Manchester United. Absolutely not. The only reason people don't ridicule it is because Southgate would be worse. But we're not getting Graham Potter. It's absolutely ludicrous. So look, what do I think about the latest story? For me, look, if you want to get excited about Eden or Graham or Thomas, they sound like bloody... It sounds like a diverse Thomas the Tank Engine, doesn't it? Eden the Tank Engine rolled into town and said hello to Thomas and Graham. And here's another Thomas, who is German, from Brentford. I just do not see it, actually, because I think that there will be a shortlist that's being drawn up by Manchester United, but I would say that... I would imagine this, and some journalists write what they imagine as sourced. I would imagine this. If you're asking me what I think is happening with the Manchester United managerial situation, I think that obviously Ten Hag is on thin ice. Obviously they want it to work out and they're going to give it a bit more time. Who knows how long time that's going to be? It might be 2 days, it might be 2 weeks, it might be 2 months. They're going to give him a little bit more time. Secondary to that, they will be looking at options. And I would say already on that option list, they've got 20 managers and it will get added to. I don't think they've got bloody Graham Potter lined up or whoever you think lined up. I think they will be waiting to see and they'll be accumulating names. And as I've said before, if we do sack Ten Hag, I want us to go and get a manager who's in a job. If I'm looking to replace somebody in a successful business, I'm not necessarily going to the job centre. I'm going to other businesses that work in my arena or similar and taking the best they've got because they're in a job and they're performing and they're valued. And that's what I'm going to do. I think that's absolutely what Manchester United should be doing. And it's interesting, actually, in The Independent this morning, they've reported that the Thomas Tuchel England rumours are complete and utter nonsense and are actually... Tuchel's people trying to put pressure on Man United to sack Ten Hag and go for Tuchel because that they think that if Tuchel's talking to England, it might make Man United act. Well, this is the pantomime of why you shouldn't go anywhere near Thomas Tuchel because he's got people around him who are PR experts. Now, that's great if you want Thomas Tuchel, but the day he becomes your manager, that PR expert doesn't go anywhere. They stay. And we have had 10 years of PR and brand and leaks, and we do not want a manager coming in with that level of PR and spin around them, protecting them. So I said this on Friday night. I don't for 1 minute think that Thomas Tuchel's in contact with England, and I didn't think on Monday that Man United are in contact with him. I think he's got a very, very good team around him that's very good at promoting him. And that's great if you want him. I get that. I understand that. Look, he's a good tactical coach, but understand the fact that I don't want him and some other people don't want him. And I think there are numerous red flags around it. As I've said before, I think he's short term. He's been sacked a lot. He's problematic. And he's also got a selection of people around him that protect him. I want to protect Manchester United. I want somebody to come to Manchester United and be in awe of Manchester United. I don't need another brand. We had the ultimate brand manager, and that was Jose Mourinho. And you know what? I'd rather have that. So that's the situation with the manager. I will walk if we get Southgate or Potter, says Victor. Hi, Mark. Hope you're feeling better today, says Laura. Yes, I am on the mend, actually. Feel a bit better today than I did. Danny says, how do you know which journalists are lying? Pretty much everybody, I would say, at the moment. I mean, is that not an established opinion? I mean, it's up to you. I mean, I can give you my opinion, but I just don't believe people. I don't believe people who sit there and go Potter and Potter and Tuchel are the number one targets for Man United, or we're into Edin Terzic is now a number one candidate for Manchester United, or we're in talks with Thomas Tuchel. I don't believe any of this because I know I don't believe anybody who sits there and does videos or newspaper articles and tells you what's happening with Ineos, because they're not leaking to anybody. Like, everybody knows that. It's established. You can speak to Ornstein, you can speak to Romano, you can speak to the BBC. Ineos are not leaking to anybody. So they're certainly not picking up the phone and going to the Manchester Evening News or the Daily Mail or some aggregator on YouTube or whatever. You're being mugged off. It's not happening, which is why, we react to the news, because that's the safest thing to do. We're not getting information from Ineos. We're not getting information from the Glazers. It's not happening. That's not what's happening at Manchester United anymore. So people are speculating, and that's why we've just had the week we've had. Because what happened is this speculation stirred the fan base up purposely in the hope that that fan base pressure would make Ineos make a decision. And that's what happened. There is no way that we have got these stories that are not factual. They're not getting that information. It's not coming out. I know when information comes out from Manchester United, it's very, very obvious. Because it's very obvious who writes about it. And it's not one journalist, it's two, it's three or four. And if you've not figured that out, you've not been watching the United stand for long, because I can tell when Man United put stuff out. And at the moment, they're not putting stuff out. The media heavily influenced Chelsea's transfers since the takeover, but they can't influence our new owners, says Josh. Thank you very much for that. King, thank you very much. Welcome to Members Club for that as well. Have seen the Benny McCarthy interview, saying we've spoken about it for the last 2 days. Slow sports news. Sometimes, because we've got our finger on the pulse in this community, we get things very much when they come out, whether it's a story from Europe or an interview with Benny McCarthy. And we were speaking about this on Friday night, and people are still finding quotes from it. Also, want to talk to you about Harry Maguire this morning. So the BBC gossip column has a section in it today talking about Harry Maguire and how Manchester United are expected to take a heavy loss on him and could listen to offers of around 15 to 10 million or 10 to 15 million to get it chronologically correct or numerically correct this January transfer window. I don't know what this story's coming out for, really. I don't know what your thoughts are on it. I mean, Harry Maguire, for me, would probably be starting against Brentford next week if he wasn't injured. That such is the chaos around Man United and our centre-backs at the moment. Obviously he's not the future, and neither is Johnny Evans, but they both started against Villa. Any loss on Harry Maguire is not based upon Ineos or Erik ten Hag. Neither of them spent £80 million on him 6-7 years ago. So I think Harry Maguire is very much in the same boat as Rafael Varane was last summer, where you look at a player who's 31, 32, is becoming quite injury prone and is on 190k a week. And whether Maguire gets taken on by somebody else in the summer, I presume somebody will take him. The cold, harsh facts about Maguire is that he has become a decent backup option who is very expensive and is also becoming quite injury prone in his early 30s. So Maguire will be gone in the summer, but I don't see us selling him in January, because I don't see anybody paying for him in January. I really don't. I think if you are a Everton or whoever's looking at buying Harry Maguire, you're not going to spend any money on him. You're going to wait till the summer. So I thought it was a bit of a weird story. He'll be gone in the summer because he's injury prone and he's on 190k a week. You just can't pay that. So he will go in the summer, but January, I can't see it. Can't see anybody paying the money. And secondly to that, I don't really see why it's a loss to Manchester United. 6 years, £80 million, 60 divided by 8. What's that? It's, about 12 million? A little bit less. What's that? 60 times 2, 72. It's about 13 million quid, isn't it? A year. I mean, has he been the player we wanted him to be? No, but he's been here for 6 years. So I mean, I don't get that. I don't get that story, honestly. Maybe I'm missing the point, but Maguire will leave in the summer with Lindelof and Eriksen, and they'll go for nothing, and we won't pay their wage anymore. It's what we did with Varane. It's what we did with Martial. It's not ideal. You want to get a transfer fee, but this is a legacy of the way the Glazers have run the football club for a decade. We spend a lot of money. We spend a lot of money on wages, and we spend a lot of money on agent fees that actually never get released. And then the player doesn't live up to the hype and leaves for free. And that's what will happen with that, I think. Bruno Fernandes. Let me talk about Bruno Fernandes. What game was that? Was that FIFA, or was it EAFC, or was it something else? Bruno Fernandes. Yes. December fixtures will be a challenge for Ten Hag, says Timon. Mate, he's got to get... Even as somebody that is not Ten Hag out, he's got to get to bloody December. I'm not, I'm not saying he's going to get to November. I don't know. Fire Up says it was Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes. That's what you're trying to be. You should have just said what you were trying to say. It's Bruno Fernandes. That's what they used to say. That's how he says his name. Well, I say Fernandes. So there we go. Anyway, the time to sack Ten Hag was in the summer. New leadership team, says Delino, would be new start. Instead, we bought new players and staff at his request. No plan B. And Timon just said December fixtures will be a challenge for Ten Hag. Yeah, as I said, let's see if we get there. Right, let's talk about Bruno Fernandes. So Bruno Fernandes was man of the match, apparently, for Portugal last night against Poland. It was one of those games where you don't have to search far to see. He completed 8 of his 10 passes. He had created 2 key chances. He ran 300 miles with the Proclaimers, and he completed 2 of his 4 tackles. And I'm like, I just don't care. I mean, so what? This is not allowed for Ugarte when he does it for Uruguay. It's not allowed for other people, but when it's a player FC player, it's the end, and this is the real quiz. If you're man of the match for Portugal against Poland, that's the real quiz. Doesn't matter if you play shit for 8 months for Man United. If you play well for your national team, that's the real quiz. And it's not the real quiz, is it? What I hope happens is that he takes some responsibility, confidence, and ability from that game and brings it back to play against Brentford on Saturday. But how many times do we see these players play well for their international team and then completely fall off a cliff for the people that pay their wages and what I think is the priority? So yeah, I mean, for me, it's just like, I don't care whether he was the worst player on the pitch. I don't care whether he was sat on the bench or didn't play, and I don't care if he was man of the match. How many points did we get? That's my reaction. How many points did Man United get from that performance then? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. If anything, it's annoying. Because I think in the case of Bruno Fernandes, I go back to the video I did on Thursday afternoon. I absolutely disagree with anybody that says, well, it's clearly not his fault. It's the people around him and it's the manager. Hold on a minute. He's 30 years of age. He's the captain and he's the number 10. That role is on you. It's like being a goalkeeper. That role is on you. That's not about the players around you. That's not about the manager. That role is on you. You are the leader. You are the captain. You are 30 years of age and you are the conductor. That is not on the players around you. If you get the ball and you slip Marcus Rashford in and he puts it into the Stretford end, you can say, hold on. And we will notice that. But that's not happening. If Kobe Mainoo and Christian Eriksen and Dalot aren't giving the ball to Bruno and he's getting no touches, we can go, oh, that's on them. But that's not happening either. He's getting the ball. He's not being creative. That's on him. In my opinion, analysing Man United over the last 8 months and Bruno Fernandes, he doesn't not get the ball a lot and he doesn't create enough. And that's on him. So if he's doing it for Portugal, why is he not doing it for Manchester United? And don't tell me that Ten Hag is telling him not to do it. He's done interviews in the past where he tells everybody how he loves the risky hero ball. So he needs to change in the way that he plays because he's one of the few creative midfielders in the Premier League who plays constant hero balls. He needs to tone it down. He needs to play more possession. He needs to play the simple pass more. And I'll go back to the Villa game last week. He gets the ball on the edge of our box, he can probe, and he chooses to hit a 40-yard Hollywood ball to Garnacho that Garnacho can't control, and we lose possession from a position where if he'd looked after it, we would have been in a good position. And that's on him. That is on him. That is him deciding to hit a Hollywood ball when he could have played a 5-yard pass to Eriksen. So it's on him. He's got to do better. I don't care whether he plays well for Portugal. Good. Play well against Man United. And you know what? I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for him to play well against Brentford next week. I'm waiting for it because there is no excuse. There is only him. He has to solve this problem. Not you, not me, not Rasmus, not Rashford, not Mainu. Him. Bruno Fernandes needs to solve this. He's 30 years of age. He can't deflect it. He knows he can't. He's the captain. He's on 300k a week. He's the number 10. He has to solve this the same way De Bruyne would solve it at Man City, the same way Odegaard would solve it at Arsenal, and the same way Cristiano Ronaldo solves every bit of criticism he's got all his career. You hit a point in your career where you are going to get criticised. You hit that point because you are seen to be a good player, and you have to deal with that. You can't deflect, you can't blame, you have to deal with it. He signed the contract at Man United. He's got to deal with this, and if he doesn't deal with it, then he's got to reap the whirlwind of criticism that has been there for quite a while. And it's as simple as that. You know, I'm doing a video with Ricky this week, and I'm sure we'll talk about Bruno Fernandes. And I'm quite looking forward to it because I will come at it from an angle that I believe there is a player there, whereas I think Ricky will come at it from a point that he said for years he just doesn't rate him. So it'll be a very interesting one because I actually think there is a player with Bruno that can not sit his critics down because the critics are correct, but to, redeem himself. But he's got to do it. He is responsible for it. It is simple as that. Malika says we need lockdown, Bruno. I agree. Jay says Bruno is crap, end of. And he's always complaining and failing, says John. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Just Keevan says Ricky always said this. He did. But Ricky's also missed on a few as well, let's be honest. Dan James. Anyway, we'll have that chat this week. But hi Mark, it's currently 3:20 in the morning here in Chicago. I love the videos. I like Chicago, Eddie. I've never been, but I like the look of it. I think Ineos need to focus on players not only with high potential but strong mentalities to fix our mentality issue. Thank you very much for that. And I also think with Bruno Fernandes, December will be even harder for a new manager, says Timon. Yes, it will. Yeah, I think you make a great point there, actually. If Ten Hag is to go, I think he'll go in the next international break because you come back and you have a couple of games against Ipswich and, is it Bodo Glimt? And then you go into a tough December. So you wouldn't want to be going into it in December. Cole Parks, welcome to the Members Club. You're an absolute legend. I mean, just on Bruno Fernandes, I think that I've never really been too bothered about the petulance and the throwing the arms in the air. But I think I am starting to get a bit frustrated with it because it doesn't work. It doesn't inspire the team. I don't care how a captain behaves as long as the team is performing and the player is performing. But the petulance and the throwing of the arms in the air, we're not playing well. He's not playing well. So maybe you do need to look at that as well because it's not like it motivates, is it? It's not like everybody in a United shirt sees Bruno throwing his arms in the air and gets inspired. When Roy Keane used to tell Gary Neville on it, inspired. So maybe there is something in that. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm off to watch the football. That's why I'm a little bit late this morning. HMJ says, Mark Dumbridge, Bruno is the best signing since Cantona. I mean, mate, you can call me Dumbridge all you like. You're about to get called a lot worse if you think Bruno is the best signing since Cantona. You know we signed Cantona in 91, or was it 92? You know how many players we've signed since then? Mate, you're not even worth replying to. Awful. That's probably the worst comment in the last decade. Well done. Call me Dumbridge. God knows what you are, mate. That is awful. That is. You've made me want to come off the internet for the whole day. I will be back for the 8 o'clock show, or if anything breaks. But that's poor. You're definitely on the wrong channel. You know what you have? You've wandered into Harrods, or you've wandered into Selfridges, and you've got no money. You're not welcome. Get out. Get lost. You've got, you've ruined it. Anyway, no. I mean, maybe some Pratt believes him, but I could write a book on the number of signings that are better than Bruno since Cantona. A whole book. I could write a trilogy better than Star Wars. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. I will tell you what Seb's score is later, but thanks everyone for watching. Speak to you all in a bit, and thanks for tuning in early this morning. I'll speak to you all later.